Hey there, internets. This is Kyle. I'll come to you with another edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing well today. I will do a quick recap of some crazy, ridiculous amount of time I've been spending on the YouTubes and the other social medias and trying to think myself out of what I'm doing. But don't worry. Well, I guess we'll see what the outcome of all that is. But in my time of dealing with physical illness, because my back is still jacked, like I got run over by a truck or something, even though I was just raking leaves, probably. I don't know what exactly caused it, but back still doesn't feel great, but I think it's getting better. I learned something about, if you ever have back problems, look up the McKinsey method. The McKinsey method. Yeah, there you go. Old physical therapist dude wrote a book, has some pretty easy, well, they're not exactly easy, but definitely things you can do on your own, exercises or stretches really, that you can do at home to try to work out some of the pain. And although they're not easy and quite painful, I mean, not quite painful, but at least for me right now, the difficult thing is getting into some of these positions without completely screwing my back and making me want to cry like a little baby, which I've done on a couple occasions, but that's life. In any case, but I think having even done those exercises for a couple days now, it seems to be getting better, and maybe it's that, or maybe it's just because it's been a longer it's finally working itself out to heal on its own or something. I don't know. All I know is that back issues can suck it, and I feel for everybody out there that has chronic back pain, and especially ones that make it very difficult for you to move around, because that's what I'm dealing with right now, and it really sucks when you can't really play with the kids and do all that. But I was feeling better, so we did go get out for a walk with the kids and the family and the dog and all that. Had some good time outside in what was, although slightly overcast weather here today, reasonable temperature, so partial sun, good to get some fresh air in the lungs, and let the dog go run around a little pond in our neighborhood here. And that was all good. So that's where we're at on that front. And this is the day after Thanksgiving now. I did not record yesterday because I was just tired and depressed or whatever. I don't know. Just couldn't do it. So apologies, not to you because I'm not really doing this for you, but to myself for not sticking with it even through the challenging times. But I will just say physical, I might give myself an exception for like serious physical pain in terms of not making progress. Me just not making progress in the whole business thing because I'm lazy and want to sit around and eat bonbons or some dumb shit. Then that's on me. I gotta own that. The whole not being able to physically get out of bed without allowing yourself to slide off like water flowing off of your bed and slowly work yourself up, that I might make an exception for. So still trying out the new mic here. I think the last video came out fine. Not that my other mic again didn't really work, but I think this is a little better to use long term once I get my official podcast up and rolling for the business. And I realized that these mics all come with a headphone jack, which at first I was kind of like, why do you need a headphone jack? I mean, at least for me, like doing a podcast by yourself, I don't really see the point. I did not see the point necessarily in needing to listen to headphones because it's just me and I'm just talking to the microphone and my computer. But as I was listening back to the one I did yesterday or 2 days ago when I first used this mic, I realized that it might take a little getting used to just the fact of not knowing how close I need to be to the microphone because, again, this one's as you back off of it, it attenuates pretty quickly. The sound falls off in terms of what it picks up fairly rapidly. So kind of having this feedback through the headphones, I thought I'd try out just to kind of see, like, hey, if I'm going to start going back like this, and then blah, 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 then I can't hear myself. So if I back up, can't hear myself in the headphones, then I know, like, oh shit, I need to be sure I stay on the microphone, or else it's not going to pick me up. It's going to sound like shit. So that's why I got the headphones on today. Luckily, I have these headphones that still have a standard, 8mm jack on it, plug thing, because obviously I've gone mostly wireless with all my other headphones that I use on a more daily basis, but these were some old ones that still worked. I was kind of pissed because I just cleaned out my office like a few months ago, and I know I had another pair of wired headphones that were pretty cool, pretty decent, and not like ginormous like these ones are that I probably would have used, but cleaned out my office and I got rid of them because that's just how I do sometimes. I get rid of shit that I haven't used for years, only to find out it's 3 months later that I could have used them, but oh well. Such is life. So today, in terms of the business, not a lot of progress. I did, I guess you could say I did a little bit of research in terms of YouTubing, and as I talked about the last video, rethinking my plan for how I put the podcast videos on the YouTubes to try to make them a little bit better tuned for the YouTube algorithms. So kind of along that vein, I was watching a couple of videos by a lady who at least claims to know something about how YouTube does what it does, and talks about, what types of things you should be thinking about kind of in advance for getting more viewers on your videos, and ultimately getting more subscribers, obviously. So there was a couple tools that she recommended that I thought were pretty useful for not just the YouTubing thing, but for general questions, which I'll explain in a minute. So I did some work on that. Also, yeah, just, again, this whole feeling like shit thing, and, it's easier for me to sit on the couch or lay in bed and be on the phone scrolling through random shit on the social media, which, again, I'm not really one that's inclined to do that, but again, they're good at sucking you into that crap, so got to be careful. And anyway, got kind of sucked into a bunch of random stuff, but some of it along the lines of, there's definitely, in this day and age here, 2022, a plethora of these internet marketing guru types that, have really saturated the market, so that, a lot of people nowadays, kind of recognize when these advertisements come across saying, hey, go check out my free ebook or whatever, or go, hey, I got this awesome book, and only, you only pay for shipping and handling, and you'll get this awesome book with all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And obviously then those people understand that those are kind of low ticket purchases to get you into their whole ecosystem, blah, blah, blah. Which is obviously what I'm trying to do, but I'm not doing it as someone that's, my intended audience is not just the whole, I want to do a get rich quick kind of scheme. And not that I think that at least some of these online guru types are necessarily really trying to target that crowd, but certainly their whole message is basically one of, hey, if you're not happy in your job, I know 1,000 ways that you can make $1 million tomorrow. So just come into my little universe here, and I'll show you the ways of the world and get you out of that crappy 9-to-5 thing. And like all of them just kind of cover the same types of businesses, whether it's, do affiliate marketing or become a coach or something, or make an e-course, an online course, and sell that. Do Amazon drop shipping, I think it is, or something. Become an Amazon seller or sell things on eBay. Like all these things that you basically don't need to have any skills really to do. It's just kind of putting in the time to do the work. But again, like all those things are so saturated nowadays that the likelihood of any person, even who puts in the work and the time, for them to really become, hit these like really high numbers, $1 million plus sorts of figures that these guys like to tout off. I mean, the chances of them doing that are pretty low. Now, that's not to say I think that a lot of those avenues for somebody that's maybe very young, if you're a teenager, early 20s, you just want to make a little extra money. I mean, to you, making $1,000 a month would be like amazing, probably. And I think you can make that kind of money relatively easily. I mean, not that it's easy money, but if you do take the time to learn some of the basic skills that you kind of do need to have, I think those are achievable results. Again, how you then scale it from there to something a little bit more, that would be a little bit more sustainable over the long term, 6 and 7 figures a year type of thing, then I think that's where it can certainly become challenging. And so anyway, the point being that there's obviously a lot of people on the internets that recognize all that and basically view all the internet marketing world as just, kind of one big scam thing. And obviously there's people on the YouTubes that get famous off of calling out other people on the YouTubes, and saying that they're scams or whatever. And granted, a lot of these, not celebrities, influencer types or whatever, frankly, they do pump a lot of scams, which maybe they don't really view it as a scam themselves, but at the end of the day they are, because they're basically getting people to get them money by one means or another, whether it's promoting some junk product or junk cryptocurrency thing or whatever that they're getting paid for to promote, which their followers, who are, do not nearly have the amount of resources they do, are going to feel like, oh yes, I should put my extra 10 grand that I have in savings into this new crypto thing because Joe Bob, influencer, says it's the best thing since sliced bread. And what happens? Well, they end up losing all their money because that crypto goes to zero and they lose everything. So there is plenty of that going around these days, and I don't fault anybody for kind of calling that out. But, it's when you get to these kind of more self-help types and I mean, yeah, just the whole self-help kind of life coach types of businesses that, some people really just don't like that. And they're just like, hey, these guys don't know, these guys are not telling you anything that you can't read in a book. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but like it or not, I mean, some people are just not going to read books. I mean, that's just, and it's kind of funny, a guy on YouTube saying that these people are not telling you anything that you can't read in a book, yet that video itself is being watched by people that, again, probably don't necessarily spend a lot of time reading books. They spend a lot of time watching videos of other people talking about what are in books. So I wouldn't fault anybody if they want to pay somebody $50 or whatever to basically tell them something that they could read in a book, but they'll do it in whatever, some class that will take them, an hour or 2 hours to watch, or whatever the case is. So I kind of see it both ways, I guess, is the point. But watching also some videos about Grant Cardone is an interesting guy that I kind of keeps popping up in different things. Russell Brunson talked about him some recently in his podcasts that I've been listening to, which again are now several years behind the current schedule. So this is going back, 3 or 4 years in Russell Brunson's time frame when he was pitching his programs at Grant Cardone's conference, 10X conference or something. I don't know. And anyway, there I seem to be a little bit of some friction there between Russell and Grant Cardone from what you can sort of elicit from what Russell talked about. But in any case, Grant Cardone seems to be one of these figures, because I've heard about him even when I've got into real estate investing, because again, he has a big real estate investment fund, and seems to be doing pretty big real estate deals, big multifamily deals, and I think that's where a lot of his wealth currently is. But again, he's also one that sells books and courses and all these things, which again, some people on the internet will say, "Oh, that's all a scam," and he's a scam artist, con artist, whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, he has done real things. I mean, he's an older dude. He's like 65 or something like that. So he's been around the block, and he's only been like doing the online thing for, I don't know, a handful of years. So I don't think anybody should really fault him for being, if you want to complain about some 16 or 17-year-old claiming to be some guru on TikTok for whatever, totally fine. Like, obviously no 16 or 17-year-old is a guru at, jack shit unless it's jacking off. But a guy that's, clearly got his age and, clearly has done well for himself before he ever started into any of the online stuff. I mean, like him or not, I mean, you got to kind of respect where he's coming from. So I did watch this video or interview, whatever, which I guess is also a podcast, with Ryan Pineda, who's also in the kind of real estate flipping business and teaches people how to do that, blah, blah, blah. He's another guy who started to see more and more in the whole real estate investment world. And one thing I kind of picked up just in watching this video was one thing that Ryan does in his podcast. And I guess, I don't know, I'll have to listen to his podcast to see if he actually does this, but at least on the video here, he takes these breaks in the middle of his podcast to promote not somebody else's product, but he's pushing, his own products. These are his coaching, courses or whatever. And so he has two of these kind of breaks. Now, this is an hour-long interview podcast, so I'm not planning to do that. And I don't think I would do any kind of a break. But I think it's a good idea, though, what he's doing for somebody like himself who has like multiple businesses, to just promote his own businesses in his own podcast. I mean, I guess it seems kind of obvious, but seems like he's got a good overall plan. And the other thing that he did at the end that I like, I think I'll probably revamp the way I want to do my video outro, is something like this, where, again, in this video that you see at the end, I forget what he's doing. I think there's some call to action in the video, and it might be people pushing people to go to this Wealthy Way website or something, or he has probably a book or something for free that he's telling people to go check out, again, to then get people into this whole ecosystem, right? So I liked this kind of way of ending things for my videos. So I'll need to figure out what I want to say, and once I get my studio-ish set up, then I'll record something to throw in some, and this is just a generic background chart fitting his design schema, I guess, and him recording that. So I thought that was a good idea. And again, he seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, this is just on his podcast channel, 31,000 subscribers, 63,000 views on this video. So not too shabby. So I did learn some things from that. I did want to show you these tools that I learned about through watching another video about just general YouTubing stuff. So there's something called answerthepublic.com. It's an interesting website you can go to and like type in just one or two keywords, search certain geographic areas, languages, and it basically pumps out like tons of questions surrounding those keywords. And it gives you some indication by the color of these dots is an indication of how much people search for those terms, or those questions, or rather. So the lady that was talking about, YouTubing was saying, hey, use this as a frame by which you pick, the most searched terms and you use these terms, these keywords specifically in your title, in the description, in the tags of your YouTube video, because people find a lot of YouTube videos just through Google searching, since obviously Google owns YouTube, so it's all connected. So I thought this was good just from that perspective, but also just in terms of being able to generate ideas for what I want to talk about. I think this is like kind of awesome, that because I'm not like a big idea generation person. I mean, just being honest, it's not really one of my strong suits, so I kind of need something to sort of get started with. But any one of these I could pick out and, whatever, I don't know, PhD jobs, PhD career paths. Okay, PhD career paths. I could make a video about talking about some primary career paths for somebody that has a PhD. PhD with job. I'm not sure what that really means, but PhD job, PhD in career counseling. I mean, some of these are a little bit off, janky just because it's a machine doing this, but PhD versus job after master's degree. Okay, yeah, that's something I could definitely talk about. Yeah, it's the same one. Is PhD a good career choice? PhD or job? Yeah, again, we could talk about a lot of those. I don't know, some other ones. PhD career goals, PhD career and technical education, PhD career change. Although I guess that's not a very hot topic. So PhD career options, career pathways, career counseling, all those seem to be hot things. So again, you could plug in any set of keywords here and check that out. Then I think there's a different tool. She also mentioned about keywordseverywhere.com, which is a free, what is it called? Not extension in Google Chrome, where you can actually get statistics on search volume, keyword search volume. And then there's some way to, I think, connect this to, this will answer the public thing, so you can actually see quantitatively how much each of these terms are being searched for. So I thought that was overall kind of a good strategy, something to think about, not only as a way to title my videos, but also a good kind of brainstorm for what I should be podcasting about or making separate videos about, whatever. So overall, I think that was pretty helpful, but I'll leave it there for today since I'm getting a little bit long. So hope you're all doing well where you're at. Keep on kicking ass, taking names, and hey, if your back feels like shit, take a day off. Like, it's okay. Life goes on. Still got a year to get this goal. I'm on day 55 or 6 or 7, something like that. I was thinking, like, I'm not even 2 months into this thing, but I feel like I'm, quite a bit further along than I was 2 months ago, when I was basically starting with nothing and really had no idea what the hell I wanted to do, to whereas now I have a pretty good direction, at least something to make a first try at. And even though I haven't got all the pieces in place, I have a bit more of the strategy, at least in my own head, which helps to for execution purposes. And just got to keep plugging away at it, make a little more progress each day. I'm not this was the other thing about the whole guru controversy or whatever on the internets, is that and it's kind of dumb for me to think, I would never want somebody to talk about me in that way, as though, me, a guy that's made zero money doing any of this, like claiming somebody's going to be calling me out for not being a real guru or whatever. But like, again, so that just makes me want to focus on things that, again, are really my core skill set and things that I really have experience in and can really talk to my experiences in doing this thing to help other people that have not done this thing yet. And like, those are the things that I want to focus the business around doing, because that's where I believe I can actually provide real value. Now, there's other things I've done kind of tangentially, maybe dabbled in certain things, but they're not things I would feel confident in terms of selling somebody a product on. Like, I can't say I'm going to sell you a product on buying your first real estate investment when I only have one rental property. Like, that's kind of stupid. Like, yeah, I bought one, and sure, I learned a lot of stuff, but I have one. So why? That doesn't make me an expert of anything. It just means like I got lucky and I didn't totally, lose my shirt. So it's good for me, but not an expert, not planning to sell anybody on how you do that at this point. So, again, just trying to keep myself focused in terms of what I want to be doing with my own business and the social medias and all that good stuff. So keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll see you later. Peace.